Welcome to the deep dive. All right, today we're really digging into a fascinating and frankly quite complex set of global developments.
Yeah, we've got quite a stack here.
We do. Sources from, frontline conflict reports all the way up to these high-level geopolitical meetings. It paints a vivid picture, doesn't it? A world really in flux.
Absolutely.
So our mission today is simple. Sift through it all, pull out the crucial insights so you get a shortcut to understanding the forces shaping things right now.
And it's a good time for it. I mean, what's fascinating is how these sort of local conflicts are now so clearly linked to bigger global realignment.
Exactly.
We'll be looking at everything. Boots on the ground stuff, the human cost, strategic moves, but also these big international summits. Try to give you that full, nuanced picture.
Okay, let's start then. On the ground in Ukraine. Recent days seem incredibly intense. One official even said night was long, quite stark. The reports coming in talk about relentless Russian attacks. Tragically, at least 4 dead, 27 injured just in the last 24 hours. And those numbers, well, they could change.
Always fluid, unfortunately.
And the Ukrainian Air Force, they detailed a massive drone assault. 86 Russian drones detected, a mix, apparently, attack drones and decoys.
Right, a complex wave.
And while Ukrainian air defenses did intercept 76, which is, pretty impressive.
Remarkable capability, yeah.
10 still hit 6 different targets, causing destruction in civilian areas, military areas too.
And these reports really underscore the sheer scale, the relentless nature of it all, the constant pressure.
Yeah.
And what's striking is the regional breakdown. You see Donetsk, 2 deaths, 8 injuries. Kyiv, Governor Sinihubov confirmed 1 death, 3 injuries. Then Kherson, Governor Putin reported 1 death, 13 injuries, and something like 18 residential buildings badly damaged.
18. That's substantial.
It is. And beyond that human toll, you just see this intensity. Sumy, Russians attacking over 150 settlements. Zaporizhzhia Oblast, Governor Fedorov citing, 591 attacks across 20 localities. It just paints this picture of pervasive aggression.
So that's the immediate impact. Devastating. But you mentioned Ukraine isn't just defending, they're hitting back strategically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, beyond just holding the line, their counteractions seem quite effective. I mean, look at the attacks on Russia's energy industry.
Right. That's gotten a lot of attention.
It has. Even former President Trump commented on it, acknowledging the damage to Putin's oil production, kind of hinting at that shared complex responsibility maybe.
Interesting.
And these Ukrainian operations reportedly have paralyzed something like 17% of Russia's refining capacity.
17%.
Yeah, that's about 1.1 million barrels per day offline. And remember, Russia is one of the world's biggest oil producers. So this isn't just military, it's a serious economic hit aimed right at Moscow's war funding.
And it's not just energy targets, right? There are claims about other high-value military assets, too.
Indeed. Ukrainian military intelligence, the RUI, they claimed a big win in Crimea. Said they destroyed 2 Russian Mi-8 helicopters, badly damaged a military tugboat. Drones, reportedly, at the Ravas Air Base. Now, the Mi-8s, they're versatile, troop transport, medevac, combat. Losing 2, that's maybe $20–30 million right there.
Wow.
And the tugboat, likely a Book 2190 in Sevastopol Bay, used by naval special forces for underwater stuff, sabotage, damaging that really hits their Black Sea operational capacity.
Okay.
Plus, Ukrainian special forces also reported taking out an S-300 air defense radar at Saki Airfield in western Crimea.
So quite a few claimed successes.
Yes, but, and this is important, we have to remember where this info is coming from. These details on Ukrainian successes, the numbers, the outcomes, mostly Ukrainian or Western sources. There's always that information asymmetry in wartime.
That brings us to the crucial point then. We hear about Ukraine's resilience, these tactical wins, but how does it look from the Russian side?
Well, naturally, the narrative shifts completely. The Russian Ministry of Defense, putting reports out through TSS, they paint a very different picture of that same 24-hour period.
Right. What are they claiming?
They claimed advances on several fronts and significant losses for Ukraine. They listed things like 3 tanks, 12 armored vehicles, over 50 other vehicles, artillery, electronic warfare systems, counter-battery radars.
A long list.
A very long list. Plus hits on ammunition depots, supply depots, a fuel depot.
So what's really, I guess, illuminating for us, for you listening, is seeing these wildly contrasting stories, both detailed, both compelling. It just underscores how hard it is to get the complete truth from the front lines.
Exactly. Information itself is a weapon here. It shapes perceptions, it shapes policy, just as much as the actual fighting.
Okay, let's shift focus a bit, away from the immediate battlefield, because Europe is making some, well, pretty seismic defense decisions. Shows how far the ripples of this conflict spread. Take Norway. They just announced their biggest military investment ever, a $13.5 billion deal for new frigates.
Huge amount.
And what's really interesting is who they chose as a partner. The UK over Germany, France, the US.
That choice is a really profound statement, especially when you think about Norway's role. They're kind of NATO's watchmen in the North Atlantic.
Right, that crucial area.
Yeah, the GIUK gap, Greenland, Iceland, UK, a vital choke point.
Yeah.
And it's the main route for Russian nuclear subs coming out of the Kola Peninsula.
So these frigates are specifically for that?
Pretty much. The Norwegian PM directly linked it to defending sovereignty, so their main job will be monitoring those Russian subs.
And they're buying British ships?
Yep, at least 5 British T-26 frigates, the same model the Royal Navy uses, so deep interoperability there. And the British PM, Starmer, he even talked about a future combined fleet. 13 frigates, 8 British, 5 Norwegians working together in Northern Europe.
So the key takeaway for you listening isn't just, oh, they bought some ships.
No. It's strategic, a recalibration. It shows deep concerns about regional security, and it's clearly strengthening that UK-Norway alliance, specifically against perceived threats in that vital maritime zone.
It's a proactive move, redefining that naval balance.
Definitely.
Okay, now let's pivot. Big shift. From Europe to Asia. Because we're seeing equally significant, maybe even tectonic, shifts there.
Right.
The Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the SCO summit, just happened in Tianjin, China, brought together some very powerful voices.
Heavy hitters.
And Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, they addressed over 20 non-Western leaders. And the message, well, it sounds like a direct challenge to the current global order, aimed, subtly at the U.S. without naming names.
Yeah, openly promoting this vision for a new world order, both in security and economy, stressing multilateralism and really pushing for a stronger voice for the global South.
And you said this isn't just talk, right? There are actual proposals.
That's what's significant. It's not just rhetoric. They're trying to build alternative structures. Xi, as host, said the world's at a crossroads. He called for democratizing international relations, more voice for developing countries, opposing hegemonism.
Which means U.S. dominance, basically.
Essentially, yeah, and practicing true multilateralism. Putin echoed that, said the SCO is rescuing true multilateralism. He pointed to using local currencies in trade among members as proof.
Moving away from the dollar.
Exactly. For Putin, this builds towards a new, more balanced security system in Eurasia, one that considers everyone's interests, unlike, as he put it, the current Europe and U.S.-centric model.
Were there concrete steps proposed beyond the statements?
Absolutely. She proposed creating a new SCO development bank.
A bank. Okay, that's big.
That's a major institutional step, aimed squarely at creating an alternative payment system to bypass the U.S. dollar, which has dominated global finance for decades.
And he offered money, too.
Pledged significant financial aid, loans, support for an AI cooperation center, signaling commitment to sort of tech and economics self-sufficiency for the group.
And what about China and India? They have their issues, but they were there together.
That's symbolically important too. Despite their rivalries, they emphasized cooperation, the potential of their huge populations. Them meeting in this SCO context, presenting this united front on certain geopolitical issues, that's quite significant.
So for us watching, this isn't just diplomatic nice talk.
Not at all.
It looks like a concerted effort. Major non-Western powers strategically targeting, maybe, vulnerabilities in the current global financial system, potentially pulling developing nations away from institutions like the IMF, the World Bank.
It seems that way. It's not just about trade deals. It feels like an active attempt to rewrite the rules of economic influence, maybe fostering a more bifurcated global economy, huge implications for stability.
Right. And this bigger picture provides context for our next point. Back to Ukraine, but seen through Putin's eyes at this SCO meeting. After talking with Xi and Modi, Putin repeated Russia's bottom line for, quote, sustainable peace in Ukraine. What is it?
Resolving the issue of NATO's eastward expansion, it's his long-held thesis. He says the West deliberately tried to pull Ukraine into its orbit, eventually into NATO.
The root causes argument.
Exactly. He insists any long-term solution has to address those root causes, restore a fair balance and security. And just for context, remember, back in 2008, NATO did agree Ukraine and Georgia would eventually become members.
And Ukraine put it in their constitution in 2019.
Right, seeking NATO and EU membership. Putin has always called that a red line.
So what's striking is how he uses this SCO platform, the company he's keeping there, to kind of validate this position.
Absolutely. Strategically. He even mentioned a supposed prior meeting with former President Trump in Alaska. Claimed they reached an understanding that opened a path to peace.
Really?
That's what he claimed. And he said he shared these advances with Xi and Modi. Publicly thanked China and India for their efforts to resolve the crisis. Detailed his Trump talks to Xi.
And the visuals. Putin, Xi, Modi talking, smiling.
Highly symbolic. Putin holding Modi's hand. It just underscores Russia actively seeking support, validation from these two huge non-Western powers, who not coincidentally are the biggest buyers of Russian oil, crucial for Moscow's war economy.
So what's the message Putin wants to send from that stage? What's the enduring message?
It's crystal clear from his perspective. The war isn't just about land. It's fundamentally about redesigning Europe's whole security setup.
Like a fundamental redesign.
Yes, he's saying any serious peace talks, for him, have to start by addressing Russia's historical demand, that NATO should have dissolved like the Warsaw Pact.
So it reveals this really deep ideological clash, not just a border dispute.
Precisely. And it signals that a stable resolution, as he sees it, means a massive reordering of post-Cold War Europe.
And it shows Russia actively trying to use this shifting global landscape to push its demands. It makes you wonder if peace is even possible without tackling these clashing worldviews.
Very difficult question.
Now, while we're looking at these realignments, these tensions, let's quickly look at the Korean Peninsula, too.
Right, another hotspot.
North Korean state media just reported Kim Jong-un inspecting a new automated missile production line.
Automated, okay.
Yeah, and this happened just days before his planned trip to Beijing, where he's expected at a military parade with Xi and Putin.
Interesting timing.
Kim apparently emphasized this modernization boosts combat readiness for their main missile units, suggests, more advanced, more reliable weapons.
And this isn't happening in isolation, right?
Yeah.
It comes with some strong words, too.
Exactly. North Korea's foreign ministry put out a scathing statement criticizing U.S.-Japan-South Korea cooperation, specifically calling out a recent joint declaration warning about cyber threats from Pyongyang.
Pushing back hard.
Yeah. A spokesperson denounced using cyberspace for geopolitical confrontation, warned that more hostile acts from Washington will just lead to more mistrust, more hostility.
So it's not just missile production. It's North Korea reacting to what it sees as encirclement. And that automated production, that implies potentially higher volume, maybe more sophisticated mass-produced weapons. That could really change the regional military math.
So the implication for you listening is, well, these North Korean developments, alongside the SCO narratives we talked about, they paint a consistent picture. Various non-Western powers signaling strength, challenging existing alliances, pushing against traditional norms, demanding a different global order. It definitely makes the security landscape in Asia feel more volatile, more unpredictable.
No question.
Okay, let's try to bring this all together. Let's unpack what we've covered today. We went from the intense, fragmented battlefields in Ukraine.
Right, the human cost, the specific regional impacts.
To Europe's proactive defense moves, like Norway's big frigate deal kind of recalibrating power in the North Atlantic.
A strategic shift there.
And then that bold vision for a new world order, articulated from Asia at the SCO summit, China, Russia, challenging the existing global economic governance structures.
And what's truly profound, I think, is how interconnected it all feels. These aren't separate stories.
Yeah.
They really illustrate this period of significant global realignment. Traditional power structures aren't just being questioned. They're being actively challenged, reshaped.
And it affects everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Military strategy in places like the GIUK gap, global economics with these alternative financial ideas, even the basic idea of multilateralism.
So for you, listening and trying to make sense of our world, maybe consider how these overlapping stories, conflict, defense, these new geopolitical and economic axes being forged, how they might fundamentally change international relations, in the coming years.
Yeah, what impact will these growing non-Western alliances actually have on global stability, on trade, on the future of established institutions that have kind of underpinned the system for so long?
It's a question worth keeping in mind, definitely worth exploring continually, because the answers, well, they're going to shape the world we all live in.